Kadha wa kadha tukizungumzia mambo tofauti, tukianzia na zile chaguzi ndogo ambazo zilifanyika hapa nchini. Ilikuwaje hizi na mambo mengi, tukizungumzia pia education, healthcare, security of the country, talk about debt in the country, corruption, and how Kenyans are going to Christmas, because Christmas is around the corner. As stated earlier, these are conversations that we'll be having with DCP party leader Rigathi Gachagua, former deputy president and key principal in the united opposition. Just how united is the opposition? Part of the conversation that we'll be having right here. Bwana Rigathi, welcome as we continue to have these conversations. It is what Kenyans want to hear. What happened in the by-election? This as we even go deeper to just find out about IEBC. What is his view on the by-election that happened? Does he trust IEBC? Do Kenyans trust IEBC? And even as we proceed towards 2027, what needs to be fixed? What must be done? Will they be going to the courts? How will they be having these discussions? Bwana Rigathi, karibu as we continue to have these discussions right here from his premises in Nairobi.
Yes, Dennis, how are you?
Welcome. It's been a while.
Karibu sana.
Yes.
Uko salama lakini?
Salama, nashukuru, sijue.
Mimi niko salama. Niko mzima.
Nashukuru kukuona.
Thank you.
Yes, so Bwana Gachagua, welcome to this conversation that we're having. It is exclusive on KTN. And even as we start to have this discussion, right, we're just off the by-election, and the DCP managed to garner 3 seats. You know, you've said it is a party that has been there for 7 months and has performed well. But if we, on the converse, we look at other positions, better not, it was expected that DCP or the united opposition would win Malava and Margarini as well. But just what's your view on the by-election? How would you rate it, as well as how would you rate IEBC?
Thank you very much, Dennis, and most welcome. I'm very glad to have KTN here with me tonight. Your station has gained a lot of respect from the people of Kenya because of being objective and telling Kenyans as it is. Your sister newspaper, The Standard, is now the newspaper of choice because of good editorial policy, of being very objective, being straightforward and telling the people of Kenya the truth. And I want to encourage KTN and The Standard to continue, because objective journalism is good for our democracy, it's good for our country. So I'm very happy to have you here. We have come from by-elections. That was a small dance. The main dance is here to come. And you know, there is a saying that you don't want to dance yourself lame before the main dance. I am more concerned about the main dance, the one for 2027, the general election. The by-elections have come and gone, and they don't reflect the political situation in the country, really. Malava was a sham, Bere was a sham. It was not possible to have a free and fair election in those 2 constituencies because of the level of violence by the state and goons. In Malava, some people are even, they silted their stomach and removed intestines. Some areas, skulls were broken and they removed the brain. And there was just too much violence in Malava and voter suppression. In areas where Seth Panyako was strong, goons under the supervision of police unleashed terror on the people of Malava. And even the candidate, Seth Panyako, was beaten up by police and goons. And IBC is just quiet. I saw them the other day do a post-mortem, and the chairman never even made any reference to the level and amount of violence that was seen in Malava. The same way in Bere. We saw a cabinet secretary take over a polling station, beat up personally in a company of police and goons, overran a polling station, beat up the agents, beat up the clerks, the presiding officer, and went ahead to stuff ballots into the ballot box. And the IBC is unconcerned. And in Narok, myself, I was met with a lot of violence by police. On the 24th, during the last day of the campaign, despite us having a scheduled rally in Narok town, the police barricaded all roads leading to Narok to stop me from getting to Narok to campaign for my candidate Douglas Maskonde. But as it were, you know, I'm a villager. And a villager in his normal environment is very good. So I know my way around the villages. And the Maasai are also very good villagers. So with the help of the Maasais, they were able to map some routes for me to get to Narok from Metulele. And I got to Narok in a helmet because stones were raining on me. Live bullets were directed to my car. There was just too much violence. So the by-elections really cannot tell you exactly the mood of the country politically, because the atmosphere of those by-elections was not conducive for a free and fair election.
Mr. Gachagua, you've raised allegations in terms of the violence that was meted on many during the by-election. You say that there was stuffing of ballot boxes, and with this one would hope that you would take these complaints to court or raise them with IEBC.
Well, I think
have you raised these with IEBC? What is their response? Are you going to court to challenge elections in areas where you say there are problems?
I personally, where I had candidates for DCP, I'm not going to court. I put 5 candidates, one in Magarini, and we performed very well. We were credible second. Despite the irregularities, I think we did very well, and I'm happy with the outcome. I had a candidate in Purko Ward in Kajiado, a seat previously held by ODM. UDA was number 1. We came very close by, and ODM was a distant third. And I think we did very well. In Narok town, despite the violence, despite the voter suppression, despite voter bribery, and making it almost difficult to carry out the by-election, DCP won and beat everybody hands down. Again, we beat ODM, UDA, and all those other parties in Kariobangi North, in Nairobi, as cosmopolitan area. Again, we did very well in Kisa East, in Quisero constituency in Kakamega. I think ODM was number 9, UDA was number 10. We emerged victorious. And what it means is that, you know, since we formed DCP was formed just the other day. It's only 7 months old. It's a very young party. But out of the 24 by-elections, we won 3. And to shame our detractors, William RUTO and company, they have been spreading propaganda that DCP is a tribal party, it's a party for the mountain. We won in Quisero. Quisero is 600 kilometers from the mountain. There are no mountain people who live in Kakamega. It's the Luya nation who live there. We won here in Nairobi in a cosmopolitan environment where all communities are. We won here in Nairobi. In Narok, our candidate was a Ma. You know, it was not a Kikuyu. And the Ma people and the other communities that live there, you know, subscribe to the philosophy of DCP, of listening to the people. You know, our party is listening to the ground. And what I want to say is that the by-elections give DCP an opportunity to show its national outlook, its acceptance across Kenya. And this is the party to watch, I can tell you.
Yep.
And we've just come in. That was a very strong showing for a young party. But as I told you, this was a small dance. Yeah. We are looking forward to the main dance.
As we look forward to the main dance, Mr. Gachagua, one would say in areas that you performed very well, you've heaped praise on the performance. That means it is an election as well that was carried out by IEBC. The areas that the United Opposition performed poorly, you say that election was rigged. One would say that is doublespeak, because it is the very same institution that carried out the election.
I am not saying the election was conducted well where we won. In Narok, it is the resilience of the Narok people that made that election happen. The officer commanding police station in Narok was forced by the DIG to surrender command to Bete Maina, the women rep from Murang'a, and he said no. He was transferred to Turkana. You can check. The OCS Narok was transferred on the 24th, 2 days before the elections, because he was being told to cede police command to a member of parliament, and he said he cannot. The woman representative of Murang'a took over the police command in Narok. She's the one who was commanding police operations. And she unleashed terror to the people of Narok town. People were beaten up, people were injured, but the people were resilient. And especially when I went there, forcibly, when the police were stopping me, when live ammunition was fired at my car, when stones were ringing on me, and I was very brave and courageous, I give people the impetus and the courage that they should not be intimidated. We won the election, but it was not a free and fair environment. It's really people fought, you know, and exactly this is what will happen in the general election. I have no doubt in my mind. Kenyans will not agree to be suppressed by goons and police in 2027. I have no doubt in my mind. What I saw in Narok is what we want to encourage across the country. In Kariobangi, there was a lot of violence and voter suppression. But the people there were determined. They wanted to elect a leader whom they want, and they did it. In Kisa, there was a lot of violence. So I am not saying that in areas where DCP won, it was a fair contest. It wasn't. They won against many odds. In fact, in Narok, if there was no voter suppression, our candidate who got 6,000 votes would have gotten 12,000. But there was a lot of voter suppression, you know, intimidating women and young people to make sure that they don't go to vote. So what I'm saying is, why I'm not worried as a leader in this country, it is possible to intimidate people in a by-election using goons and police. It is not possible to do so during the general election. There are not enough goons to intimidate people in the country. Every goon will be in his constituency, and he will be dealt with by the local people. The police will have no capacity to escort goons to cause mayhem, because in a general election, you need 2 police officers in every polling station. We have 45,000 polling stations in Kenya. You need 90,000 police officers. They are never enough. In fact, they borrow manpower from KWS and KFS. So what I'm saying, and I want to assure the people of Kenya, there will be no police officers to escort goons to come and intimidate you. So deal with the goons, and they will be dealt with, I can tell you. Even these goons are only a problem because they have police escort, who have guns, who have live ammunition. If the goons were trying to intimidate the people of Kenya on their own, they will be dealt with by the people of Kenya. But Kenyans, you know, start back a little bit, because normally they are backed. Like when we were at Kariobangi, when we went to celebrate our candidate, Wanyoike, for winning the Kariobangi North seat, the goons came to church, but they were driven away by the Christians, only for them to come back under police escort. Police backed them with bullets, with tear gas. You know, police were tear gassing children and the clergy so that they can create confusion and allow the guns to attack our people. But if the police keep away, goons are not a challenge in this country. They will be dealt with by the people of Kenya in a very, very, very expeditious manner. So I want to assure the people that what they saw during the by-election is not possible in a general election. Nobody has that capacity during a general election to cause mayhem, to intimidate people, to do voter suppression. I can tell you the people of Kenya will make sure that voting is orderly, there is no disruption, there is no voter suppression, there is no interference. The people of Kenya will do so. Mr.
Gachagua, you've said that in areas where you participated in election and lost, you would not be going to court. And in other areas where, say, DP in Bere, that is, you've distanced yourself, whether they want to go to court, yes or no. But how then do you distance yourself from united opposition if all along you have been speaking the same language? Is it a question of where I did not have a member, it is none of my business? How then does that speak in terms of united opposition and how united it is? Every party is distinct. We are united in purpose, in terms of getting a single presidential candidate to face William Ruto. That we are united. But we are not united in the nitty-gritties and the day-to-day operations of every political party. I went to Bere to help the Democratic Party, but they are in charge of their own operations. The DP leader, Justin Muturi, has told me they are going to court, and I wish them well. And it's important that they do. Would you support him as it goes to court? I don't need to support. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer, so I cannot help. But I think they should go to court, because what happened in Bere is unacceptable. From my own view, the UDA candidate would not garner more than 5,000 votes. There was a lot of voter bribery. There was a lot of coercion of elderly women and men who are recipients of the cash transfer program. About 7,000 elderly people in Bere were intimidated by chiefs, by Nyumba Kumi,
by elders that if they don't vote for UDA, their money will be discontinued. So they went to vote for that candidate under duress. And I want to tell our elderly, this cash transfer program is not a gift from William Ruto. It is money that is voted for by the National Assembly. It is appropriated. It is your right as elderly citizens to receive this money. And it does not depend on the goodwill of William Ruto for you to continue receiving this money. I want to tell them as we go to the general election, because the chiefs were caught the other day and told of the success of Bere and Malava, how the chiefs and Nyumba Kumi intimidated elderly people who received the cash transfer program to vote for the UDA candidate. And they were told to replicate the same across the country. Let me ask our people to tell their mothers and their fathers that fund, that program, is not a gift by William Ruto to the elderly people. It is a government program. These are funds that are voted for and appropriated in the National Assembly. They are from public funds. And they don't have to vote for William Ruto or his candidates for them to continue receiving that. In fact, if I'm elected president, and I think I will, I intend to increase that fund from 2,000 to 5,000 because it's not enough. In fact, other than threatening these elderly people that if they don't vote for William Ruto, he will discontinue the program, what myself I'm telling them is that we must increase that fund from 2,000 to 5,000 to be able to help the old people. And it's their right. Even when they vote for me, it's not a favor. You know, it is their right as senior citizens in this country. And these are public funds. They are not from the president. They are not from his farm. They are not from his pocket. These are public funds. So our people should not be intimidated that if they don't vote for William Ruto in 2027, as the chiefs have been directed to go and threaten them. And I want to ask them to ignore those threats. And we'll be telling them the following 1 year, the whole of 2026, where we go, we'll be telling the elderly people, please, you must cast your vote where you want. You should not be intimidated by government that if you don't vote for William Ruto or UDA candidates, that this fund where you are given 2,000 shillings every month can be discontinued.
Now, so let's remain a little bit in Bere, and I want to look at a situation where, as we talk about the mountain, you have packaged yourself to be, one would say, the kingpin or the spokesperson of the mountain. And we look at the by-election and how much effort was put in the mountain, especially to win the Bere seat. But to look at the results of the by-election, and one would say, seems as if Gachagua does not have the hold of mountain, that the people have spoken otherwise, despite you coming out saying that you have mountain by your side, but results
I am
show
not
otherwise.
saying, I don't want to say I have the mountain. The people of the mountain listen to me. And what happened in Bere is not a yardstick. To start with, UDA did not win that seat. I can tell you for free. Yeah, that election was buggered. UDA spent over 800 million bribing people. Ministers were there, PSs, heads of parastatals, goons. Even those people who are saying that they won, that they defeated us. Yes, they defeated us in bribing people, in stealing public funds to bribe people. That they defeated us. And they beat us hands down because, one, we cannot steal public funds. We have no capacity. We have no capacity, and we are also not thieves. Number two, they beat us in sending goons to beat their own kinsmen. That one they beat us, as we have no capacity to mobilize goons to beat our people. You know, we can't do that even if it's an election. I regard Gachagua can never, mobilize goons to beat the people of Bere. These are my kinsmen. So what they beat us in is use of public funds to bribe people, voter suppression using goons and violence, where ministers were beating women. That's that one they beat us, we agree. But on the actual vote, they lost. And I don't want to dwell too much on it. And I also want to tell those people, William Ruto doesn't understand the mountain. And these young boys who hang around him are juveniles. They don't understand the mountain. If they took time to study the history of Bere, they will not be all over yapping and celebrating. Bere North is a constituency that was called Chicago. That constituency since 1992 On the presidential vote, they vote with the rest of the mountain. All other elections are a local affair because they have serious issues of clans and other local dynamics that are very unique to them. In the year 2002, Chicago, then Better North, today, voted for Mwai Kibaki and a knock 98%. Nobody wanted to hear about Moi and Kanu. Yet the people of Better North, Chicago as it was called then, went ahead to elect Justin Muturi and Kanu in 2002. The following election in 2007, they voted for Mwai Kibaki, 97% at the PNU. They rejected JB Muturi with PNU and elected Lene Kevuti and Safina. In 2013, the people of Better North, like the rest of the mountain, they voted for Uhuru Kenyatta under TNA, went ahead to elect Jalango and Abbas. That's how dynamic it is. All those people in Bere, including those who voted for the UDA candidate, are one-term people. In matters presidential, the people of Bere North and Bere South, they vote with the rest of the mountain. That's why I've not even bothered myself. It's not even an issue. It's not, as far as I'm concerned, it's not even an issue because I understand the dynamics of those two constituencies and the way they are voting is all the time. But I want to tell you from what happened, UDA can celebrate. It's a forced celebration, even themselves. Even Ruto himself, he knows. If you spend 800 million for 15,000 votes, yeah, a vote is worth almost 60,000. I mean, what are you saying? What are you telling people?
I mean, in that election...
And the opposition did not have money to spend. They have stolen money from nobody. They have no access to public funds. They were just selling policies. They were just selling their candidate. When you spend 800 million in a constituency, that's why I want to tell these UDA fellows, they are celebrating nothing. During the general election, they will be their own. Kila mtu atakuwa kwake, anang'ang'ana kwake. Mtu atakuwa sugoi, there will be no goons to help you. There will be no police to help you. You will have to go and fight your own battle.
In Bere, as we just wrap up the conversation around that, there is the aspect that is Moses Kuria part of United Opposition because we saw him present a candidate through Chama cha Kazi. And in your own deduction, would you say that affected in one way or the other?
It did. It did. You see, when the elders of Bere approached me, it's because of the clan dynamics. Newton Karis and Boy, the one who was in DCP who went to Korea, come from one clan. And the elders told me, if we have the two candidates, it's not good. You know, the other guy, the one who is said to have won, comes from a different clan. So they asked me to step down this guy so that this clan can have one candidate. And it made a lot of sense because I understand the Bere people and the clan dynamics. Because I'm from the mountain, I understand those things. So I withdrew the candidate. But then the government approached Kuria. Kuria is part of the RUTO administration.
He's not in United
No, he is part of it. His party, the Chama cha Kazi, is one of the many wheelbarrows I talk about. You know, RUTO has so many wheelbarrows in the mountain, parties that he uses for his own use. So he called that a wheelbarrow to get this guy. This guy got 2,500 votes. Those votes, because of the clan dynamics, would have gone to Newton Karis. Yeah? Despite the theft of the election and the voter suppression and the bribery and the violence, probably if those votes went to him, it would have been different. And I have told the people of the mountain, this is going to happen a little bit more. There are so many wheelbarrows in the mountain. And William Ruto will be checking where it is. He introduces 2-3 wheelbarrows to divide the vote. But as it were, people are very intelligent. People now even know. I'm even happy that it happened because I've been talking about it. And people now can see what I've been telling them. That Ruto has many wheelbarrows in the mountain that he will be unleashing to interfere with the outcome of elections in various constituencies and counties. So people must be aware which is their party, which is the party they can rely on, and we'll call out the wheelbarrows so that people know them. When they see them, they know they are wheelbarrows. Yeah? But Kuria and Ruto are one, and they were on the same side, you know? And that is the way it was planned. And it defeated what I had done because had withdrawn the candidate to allow the united opposition to have one candidate to face the other. But you see now, through Kuria, another candidate was introduced to divide the vote for Newton Karis.
Now, you've said you do not trust IEBC, yet the ballot 2025, as we call it at Standard Media Group, is a litmus test on what is to happen in 2027. If we look at what has happened in 2025 and that pending credence in the sense that in 2027 we might see more and more of this, like you said, we might have more wheelbarrow parties, as you call them, in 2027. How are you going to the election with an IEBC that you do not trust?
Well, we don't have a choice. What we have to do is just improve our mechanism to gather our votes. And the people will gather the votes. Despite the voter suppression, despite the violence, despite the intimidation, the people of Narok made their point. The people of Kenya will do so. And it's good these by-elections have happened. We have now known the use of goons. The people will be prepared to deal with goons. I can tell you, these goons will not disturb anybody any other time in this country. They will be dealt with. The use of police in civilian clothes, people will deal with it. We are very happy that these by-elections happened. We have known what RUTO intends to do, the use of goons and police for voter suppression, for interfering with the will of the people. It is good it has happened in good time. We're going to educate our people. There will be a lot of civic education in the next 1.5 years. As we start meetings in February, wherever we go, we'll be educating our people. Again, let me also tell you, it is easy to bungle a by-election because you are dealing with one vote. In Narok, we had one agent. What will happen in 2007? There will be 10 agents for the MCs. There will be another 6 agents for the MP. There will be another 4 agents for the governor. There will be another 4 agents for the senator. There will be another 3 agents for the women rep. There will be 6 agents for the president. You will find in a classroom, there are 30 agents. And those 30 agents, you cannot make them agree on how to bungle the election because they have different interests. So what will happen is that all of them will protect the credibility of the vote. You know, the agents, because they are many, they will protect the credibility of the vote. Again, each candidate will organize men to protect the polling station from goons. But you see now, in Bere there was only one candidate. His capacity to protect the polling station is diminished because he's just one person. But where you have 6, you have more than 40 candidates in a polling station fighting. Each one is fighting to win. Those people, they will mobilize 20, 30, 40 people each. There will be 500 people outside there saying you cannot interfere with this election. And you know it's good it has happened. Kenyans are wiser, you know. The Maasais in Narok are saying, had we known that they said goons here, wangekuta sisi tungewangoja. So 2027, the Maasais in Narok will be waiting. They will protect the polling station with their means, and they have the means to protect the polling station from anybody, including the police. So we want to say the police is very embarrassing that the National Police Service have made goons a part of the service. They work together. IG has surrendered the command of the National Police Service to politicians. It's a shame. It's so sad. It's unbelievable at this age that goons can take over the National Police Service. You know, it's unbelievable. Even the other day, the president said that all the goons who attacked us in Kariobangi should be arrested and charged. The following day, the National Police spokesman gave some 80 names. It is 1 week. None has been taken to court. And they will not be taken because they are part of government. These are government goons. They were organized by the PS Internal Security. So nobody will take them to court. So the president is just wasting our time. He's just enjoying the people of Kenya, saying we don't want goons. I've directed IG. He stands there. He salutes. It's 1 week since he gave the instruction. The names were given. Who has been taken to court? And nobody will be taken to court because these goons are part of the government arrangement to manage politics. So what will happen is that the people of Kenya will prepare themselves to deal with the goons, to deal with the police. And that is what will happen in 2027.
Now, Gachagua, let us talk about the united opposition. So here is a question where you made a statement in terms of zoning Nairobi for DCP, and that elicited a lot of conversation because even Wiper party leader Kalonzo Musyoka said, we have not gotten into any discussion in terms of zoning. And many have equally just described you as a bully, that within the united opposition, it's either Gachagua's way or the highway. Is that the case?
I don't think I've said it's either my way or the highway, but I'm the party leader of DCP. And I have my party to market. I must market my party, and I must fight for its rightful space in any dispensation. What we have agreed as united opposition is in Nairobi is that we'll have an arrangement where we are not having friendly fire because we will lose. Nairobi is complicated. And there are voting patterns that have been there in history. There are areas where Wiper is strong. There are areas where DCP is strong. If Wiper and DCP fight, we could give way to UDA. And all I was saying is that we have an arrangement. That is true. Even Kalonzo has clarified. He didn't say we have not spoken. What he was correcting is the impression that was given by the press that I said these seats are being reserved for DCP. I never said such a thing. What I said is that between DCP and Wiper, among ourselves, we will take all these seats. That's what I said. I didn't say they will be for DCP.
That's not the statement you made.
No, that's what I said. I said between myself, between DCP and Wiper, we'll take 16 out of 17 seats.
But Mr. Gachagua, you're quoted saying that in Nairobi, the governor position would go to DCP.
I said yes. I said
You said
yes,
that
I did.
senator position would go to DCP.
I did.
You said that 17 seats of member of parliament would go to DCP.
No, I didn't say that.
At what point in
that
conversation did you say that you sat with Kalonzo and agreed on how you would take these seats as united opposition? Because that did not come out.
No, you are also putting words in my mouth. What I said is this. Between myself and Kalonzo, we have had discussions on how we make sure that we take the majority seats in Nairobi by not fighting among ourselves. And I said I'll be fighting for DCP to be given governor, to be given senator, to be given women rep. I'll fight. It does not mean because I'll fight, I'll get. But I must fight. You see, my friend, if you want to go somewhere, you must be ambitious. You must anchor your party properly. I would like my party to take governor. I would like it to take senator. I would like it to take women rep. That does not mean because I would like it to take it, it'll take. We'll negotiate. And then I said, out of the 17 seats, we'll fight for 16 out of 17 among ourselves. I didn't say they are for DCP. The people of the press went ahead to say that I said these seats are for Kikuyus. Because the press, most of it has been pocketed by William RUTO to say DCP is a Kikuyu party. DCP is not a Kikuyu party. I won a seat in Kisa, we won a seat in Narok, we won a seat in Nairobi. Nobody talked about Kikuyus in that church. I talked about DCP. And to tell me that DCP is synonymous to Kikuyu is erroneous. It isn't erroneous. It is not synonymous to Kikuyus. Kikuyus are in DCP, yes. So are many other Kenyans. So what I say, and Kalonzo has clarified, we have not agreed on who is to get what. But what we have agreed is that among ourselves, we'll go for all these seats. And it's doable because we have regional tendencies, we have previous voting patterns, and looking at it on paper, it is possible for the united opposition to get 16 out of 17. And those 16, the DCP will get its fair share commensurate to its strength and presence in Nairobi. But people want to twist what I say, that DCP will take everything, or DCP wants to intimidate Wiper. In fact, I went ahead to affirm the place of Kalonzo Musyoka in Nairobi politics. I did. I say this guy has been making ODM win all these seats, and I want this time to help me in DCP win most of them. That's what I said. So how do you say we are intimidating Wiper and Kalonzo when we are actually affirming his place and role and influence in Nairobi politics? You know, and I can tell you, for the longest, most of the seats that ODM has gotten in Nairobi is because of the support of Wiper. It is that support I'm looking for. And I have every right for my party to reach out to Kalonzo to help DCP. I mean, whom do people think I am? I should not fight for my party. I should not look for a strategy on how I can win more seats in Nairobi. I would be foolish not to do that. And I have reached out to Kalonzo, and I'll continue reaching out to him. If Kalonzo can help DCP to get 8, 9, 10, so be it. If DCP can help him get 5, 6, so be it. And I can tell you, this Nairobi is a discussion, because you must sit down. You can't have friendly fire. It is not wise, it is unstrategic. And that's all I said. And you know, I had some people say, oh, Rigathi should not give out his strategy or his secret. There is no secret. I'm an open book. Myself, I talk for the people who are my supporters. And they have every right to know what I'm planning for them. I don't want hidden cards and hidden, games. Ati tuende tukutane hapo na Kalonzo, tupanga hapo kisiri. I am not that kind of a person. Mimi tukikubaliana kitu na wewe, nasema tumekubaliana namna hii. So that my supporters know the kind of deal I'm entering them into. We are in the problem we are because we never told people what we had agreed with William Ruto. Had we told people what we had agreed with William Ruto, we will not be where we are. Rigathi
Gachagua, you've mentioned about strategy. The government has mentioned you that you are rudderless, you are planless, that you have no agenda for the people of Kenya. Tonight, let's talk about the agenda.
Beautiful.
You know, we talk about where we find ourselves today. In January, we have education, students going back to school. And with that, we have seen the entire, in terms of capitation, how that has been a problem in the country. The teachers, the JSS teachers, senior school teachers have warned that they would down tools. And as we talk about the agenda and talking about education, you say that you want to be president of the Republic of Kenya. DCP wants to form government. United Opposition wants to form government. What is the agenda on fixing everything that we see today, especially in the education sector? What promise do you have to the parents and students, children of the people of Kenya?
Thank you. I'm very happy that you have asked me this question. William Ruto says we have no agenda. We have a very serious agenda. Very serious agenda for this country. And I'm happy to have this discussion tonight. And let me tell the people of Kenya before I go into the agenda. I've heard the president going every meeting saying that the problem of Kenya is tribalism. That's a lie. It's a false narrative to run away from the real issues of discussion in Kenya. We have no problem of tribalism in this country. There is no community fighting any other community. There is no community that has a problem with another community. The problems that bedevil Kenya is theft of public resources. The problem of this country is mismanagement of public resources. The problem of this country is not tribalism. It is the sale of national assets. The problem of this country is not tribalism. It is abductions and extrajudicial killings. The problem of this country cannot be tribalism. How does tribalism cause extrajudicial killings? How does tribalism cause the sale of public assets? What the president has done, because he has messed the country completely, he is creating a false narrative about tribalism and cohesion. Oh, we need to bring the country together. This country is united against theft, is united against corruption. This country is united against theft of public resources.
We'll get to corruption. Let's talk about education.
So what I'm saying is,
the plan.
As I want us to discuss the problems of Kenya, but I want to put it from onset, that tribalism is not a problem in this country. And I'm very disappointed that even very serious political commentators and very serious newspapers have actually bought the narrative by William Ruto that the problem is tribalism, so that we don't discuss the real issues of how he has messed this country in 3 years. You have asked about education. Mwai Kibaki, the third president of the Republic of Kenya, gave us free primary education. Uhuru Kenyatta came and gave us secondary school education that is free, so that education is an equalizer. Every child, despite your background, despite the ability of your parents, you have access to education to give you a springboard to be somebody in life, for yourself, for your parents, and for the country. Within 3 years, William Ruto and his government have destroyed whatever Mwai Kibaki did and what Uhuru Kenyatta did. As we speak, every child in secondary school is supposed to get 22,000. Last year, they were only given 9,000. 13,000 did not come. Most secondary schools are being auctioned because they took food from suppliers they cannot pay. You know, as we speak in January, yeah, parents have been told to prepare to pay. On paper, the Ministry of Education says education is free. But in real life, they go and tell the teachers, the head teachers, you ask the parents to pay, but don't say it's the official government policy, you know? And when the teachers made noise, instead of making available money for capitation, they were called to State House and bribed it with 10,000 shillings each. You know? You bribe the principals and the head teachers to stop talking about the collapse of the education system. So what I am saying is this, that we need to fix our education system. And one of the things that I and the government that I will form will do is make sure we reinstate free primary education as given by President Mwai Kibaki. Again, we reinstate, yeah? We reinstate free secondary education, especially for the day schools, so that once you go to a day school, you pay nothing, you know? Again, we have a problem of 20,000 teachers of the junior secondary school. These teachers, and I was there, I was the deputy president, we recruited them on internship for 2 years, and they were promised, and I was there. We were there with Nancy Macharia, she was the TSC secretary, William Ruto was there, Ezekiel Machogu was there, I was there. And we agreed even in cabinet that they will be on internship for 2 years, then they will be confirmed in permanent and pensionable. The government has refused to do that, you know, and they are saying there is no money, you know. And this money is there, but this is the money that is being stolen. This is the money that was being given to teachers, 10,000 each. This is the money that was being given to chiefs, 10,000 each. This is the money that was being used in Mbere and Malava. This money has been there for the JSS teachers. But this is the money that has been stolen and diverted to politics by William Ruto and Kindiki. All this money you are seeing around the country being dished for politics, this is the money that was for the JSS. Look at the lecturers. We had a problem with the lecturers for a long time. Yeah, they were on strike for a very long time.
49 days.
The other day it was agreed that they be paid 50%. They were lied to. They have not been paid. We have a looming strike in January because the money is not available. This is the money the president is using for re-election. And then these teachers are being told the problem of Kenya is tribalism. How so? How can the problem of Kenya be tribalism? The problem is mismanaging the education sector.
2024-2025, when
yes.
you are deputy president,
yes.
Still, capitation to schools never got there. Do you take responsibility or do you distance yourself from that?
I take no responsibilities because, you know, in 2024, I disagreed with William Ruto about the finance bill and about the way he was running the country. It's on record. That is why I was hounded out of office. I started telling him the country is headed in the wrong direction. We have lost our priorities. And this is not right, you know?
By the time the impeachment was in the works, Mr. Gachagua, you had served as deputy president.
Yeah, but everybody knows.
Gotten to schools.
Everybody knows.
How do you distance yourself
from
everybody
knows
that you served in?
Everybody knows, and if you ask JB Muturi, he can tell you, I oppose most of those things in cabinet. And it is one of the grounds that was used to impeach me, that I was having insubordination, that I was not agreeing to cabinet decisions. Yet you go to cabinet so that you express your opinion. It doesn't mean because you are in cabinet, you must agree to everything that is being proposed. For the last, I served 1 year. The second year, I had a problem with the president when I realized that we are just stealing public funds, that we have lost our priorities as a country, that we are destroying the educational sector. If you look at HELP was working. They came and introduced a mongrel of finance model that cannot work. I opposed it in cabinet. I said, Mr. President, I have listened to lecturers, I have listened to students, I have listened to parents. Nobody wants this system. The English say, if it's working, don't fix it. This HELP has been working for very many years. Let's panobit it a little bit and improve it. Let's not scrap it. And what I'm saying is that...
how would you fix it?
I would reinstate HELP and panobit it. It needs a few things here and there to make it more inclusive, so that you can even include people in polytechnics, the tertiary institutions, and you also make sure that students have access to this fund, and then you create a good mechanism on how they pay when they get employment or when they get self-employed. But you don't scrap the whole thing. It's throwing away the baby with the bathwater. And these are things that we want to do. We want to bring back free primary education, free secondary education, strengthen the competency-based curriculum by involving all stakeholders. You know, you cannot impose a curriculum without talking to the teachers, without talking to the parents, without talking to the pupils of the students. These are things that we must do. And again, we must invest as a country on our teachers. We must remunerate them well. These teachers who are internship, we must confirm them to P&P so that they can also earn a dignified living. How do you get teachers to teach the young people when themselves they are very uncomfortable, when they have no food in their house, when they have no bus fare, when they have no bus fare to get to school? Again, we must digitize our learning system. Most of these programs we have introduced, nobody prepared the teachers. You know, we did not upgrade them by first making sure that they are all computer literate. So these are things that we want to do. And my brother, to build our country, we must fix our education system. And Mwai Kibaki did it. And everybody was happy. In a record 3 years, that has been destroyed. And that's what we are saying, we must fix it. And the problem that we have today, as we go for Christmas, parents are crying. Where will they get money to pay school fees in January? And then William Ruto is on top of the vehicle telling parents their problem is tribalism. What has tribalism got to do with the capitation? What has it got to do with the payment of JSS teachers? Let us deal with the real thing. The real thing is that the government has destroyed the education system, and it has undermined great work that was done by Mwai Kibaki and Uhuru Kenyatta.
You know, healthcare is another big ticket item that Kenyans are struggling with. SHA, is it working? Yes. Is it working? The government says it is working, though it needs a little bit of fixing, panel beating for it to work. You know, recently we saw the president was recently in the United States of America. He signed a new health deal where data would be shared. What's your position on that? And even as we still remain on matters to do with healthcare, SHA is not working.
SHA is not working.
What is Gachagua's solution to SHA?
SHA is not working because it was a fraud. William Ruto attended a church service where I attended in Embu. It was the inauguration of the Bishop of Embu Diocese. And then he took the microphone to say SHA is working. He could not speak, he was shouted down because it's a lie. SHA is not working and everybody knows it. Even a 34-child knows SHA is not working. SHA was a fraud to steal money by Ruto and his cohorts. And already 104 billion shillings have been stolen. The NHIF system was working, and it needed 800 million to be upgraded into something that is functional. The whole scheme of SHA was to steal funds.
Yet, Mr. Gachagua, you allowed it to happen with your deputy
president. I'm saying I oppose these things. And that is why, when I was removed from office, one of the accusations against me, one of the grounds of removing from office is that I was not respecting the president and I was having insubordination by opposing government programs. But theft is not a government program. The government that I fought for did not tell the people of Kenya that theft will be one of our programs. So I opposed theft. I did not oppose a government program. I opposed theft by William Ruto and his people. So you remember the other day, 10 billion shillings was stolen and paid to hospitals that are closely associated with CS Aden Duale. You remember on the 1st of December, Aden Duale, with a lot of drama and theatrics, gave a lot of documents to the director of criminal investigation, DCI, 1st of September. Today is, I don't know, 8th or 9th. Since that time, 3 months, nobody has been taken to court, nobody has been arrested, there has been no information. It was just drama and theatrics. Nobody will be taken to court. The whole SHA nonsense is theft of public resources by Ruto, Duale and company at the expense of the lives of the people of Kenya. That is the folly of it, you know. And they keep on sending ministers to tell wananchi that SHA is working. People just look at them, you know. People just look at them every day. Yesterday I was in Muranga in a place called Ithanga for a funeral, and a matter was brought to my attention. A lady died 4 months back She remains unburied because they are not able to pay the hospital bill for 450,000. They have raised 300,000. They are unable to raise 150,000 for the last 2 months. I had to give them 150,000 so that that patient, the body can be removed from hospital. And then you are telling us SHA is working. If SHA is working, that lady would have been buried, you know, a long time ago. If you go to the countryside and ask everybody, this SHA thing is a monster. It's not working. And what I'm saying myself, if given an opportunity by the people of Kenya, there are certain things that I want to do. One, I would like to revert to the NHIF ideology. It was a very good thing. Just reform it well, upgrade it to meet the modern times, you know. Again, Linda Mama, that was here, that was brought by Uhuru Kenyatta. We want our women to give birth with dignity. It was scrapped. I will reinstate Linda Mama. I would also like to work very closely with the private healthcare providers and faith-based organizations, the church, the Catholic Church. They have beautiful hospitals, mission hospitals. The PCA Church, they have beautiful hospitals. We need to support the church. You know, like now, since NHIF was scrapped, they were owed billions of shillings. They have never been paid. Most of those hospitals owned by the church are almost collapsing. This is something that we must work on. Again, we must remunerate properly our healthcare providers. We must make sure that the doctors and the nurses and the clinical officers, they deal with human life. People who deal with human life are not your ordinary work. These are people who are dealing with life. These are people who need to be settled. They need to be well taken care of, and we need to have a discussion with them. We need also to expand the universal health coverage so that we make sure that the level 2 hospitals, that those are the dispensaries, and the level 3, the health centers, are properly equipped. You know, my brother, most of these cases that come to level 4 hospitals for admission and level 5, if there was proper intervention at level 1, 2, and 3, they will never get to the level 4. You know, but these cases get bigger because they don't get the proper attention. I would like to focus more on level 2. Those are the health centers, and level 3. The level 2 is dispensaries, level 3 are the health centers. I would like to focus more. And then again, the level 4, we make sure they are well equipped. And we will go a step further by making sure every level 4 hospital in the country has a ward to deal with rehabilitation of addicts. Because we have a serious challenge of drug addiction and alcoholism in this country. And the treatment of addicts is very expensive by the few health providers who are doing it from a private perspective. We would like every level 4 hospital to have a ward, you know, specifically dedicated to deal with addiction. Again, we would like to digitize, you know, our health systems so that, you know, if you saw one doctor and you go and see another because you are far away, at the touch of a button, they can get your medical history.
Does this mean that you get in and you get rid of SHA? Because yesterday I had a discussion with the PS, Dr. Oluga, and he said that the government is working on a database where all the information for Kenyans will be in a single database, such that whenever it is you go in this country, you will still get the information. So Gachagua, does it mean you get in, you get rid of that and start afresh?
No,
and what
no,
happens to the investment that Kenyans have put into putting in place SHA?
Whatever is working will improve on it. Yeah? But first we have to stop the theft. We cannot improve on the theft, we can only stop it. Theft of public resources is our main challenge, especially in the health sector. You know? And SHA is a scam. It's a fraud. We must get rid of SHA because from the inception, it was tailor-made and birthed to steal public funds at the expense of the health of our people. We must go back to NHIF and improve it, panobit it, and make it compliant to the modern way of doing things. But we cannot continue with this theft. This, we must bring it to an end. Again, we need to implement a mental health policy. You know, we only have one medical facility here in Mathare and a few others. You know, and you know, mental health is a big challenge in this country. But you see the way people are treated at that institution, it's like they are criminals. Because it's only one institution to handle so many people. we need people to know that mental challenges is not a crime, and you should not be embarrassed about it, so that even relatives know. And the only way to do is to have a good mental health policy and to make sure that we have enough psychiatrists in every level 4 hospital where people can go on and get counseling before issues get out of hand. So these are some of the things we like to do. And of course, what was signed in America is unacceptable.
Why?
We cannot sell our medical data to foreigners. We cannot. Even if we are poor, we have our own dignity. The right to privacy is absolute. We cannot give our medical records to the Americans for their own research and analysis using our records. And I think it is very inappropriate for the president to brag that he has signed an agreement with the Americans to get some money, you know, so that we give away our medical records. And I'm happy that Okia Mutata has already gone to court, and I wish him well, because this must be stopped. These are things that we cannot allow, you know, that a president and a government can auction our dignity as a people. You know, you need privacy to your records, your medical records. It cannot be given to foreigners. I think that is totally unacceptable.
I spoke to the PS, and he talked of aggregate data that would be shared. It would not be this is Dennis Aseto who came to hospital and was diagnosed with a certain medical condition. It is a question of 10 people came to the hospital and were diagnosed with cancer, and based on that information helps the US government, who are assisting Kenyans, to know how many medical equipment Kenya needs. And that is kind of data that would be shared. Do you oppose that?
Can anybody believe that PS?
Do you believe it?
If he has said, if that PS is saying SHA is working and it's not working, can you believe anything else they say? If they are lying to people of Kenyans on basics, things that are straightforward, is SHA working or not? They say it's working. You go to hospital, it's not working. Can you trust that PS on complicated matters?
But you're opposing it based on what fact, Mr. Gachagua, is the question?
You know, we have been around for a long time, and we understand these things. And I want to wish Okia Mutata well, and I believe our courts of law will not allow our country to auction our medical data. I don't think our courts will allow it.
You know, the country's security is something to look into.
Yes.
And recently we saw the arrest of many individuals, especially in the immigration department, with regard to matters to do with IDs. And that has pointed a picture on where the country is with regard to those who have the documents that are recognized as Kenyans. It is a matter that we had a discussion with you back in the days. But as we also just talk about security, there is the question of extrajudicial killing by the police. Yeah. During the campaign period, you say police attacked you in charge. You know, and as we just have a discussion on that, where do you see the country's security is? You have yourself been in that space for a very long time. Well, and if we are to fix the security, do you also care to comment, if at all, this ID business is being used to influence elections in 2027?
To start with, as a young man, when I joined government at the age of 23, I joined in the security sector. I understand the security architecture of this country quite well. And I must say I'm very saddened that we have lost it as a country. We have a clueless CS for Interior who has no idea on how to manage a country's security architecture. We have a situation where the National Police Service is working with the goons. It's like they are a unit in the National Police Service. We have seen the President of the Republic of Kenya moving around in town in Nairobi in a company of goons. They are robbing people when they are in the presidential convoy. They are, you know, touching women's breasts when they are with the presidential convoy. They are stealing people when police are there. And there is nothing the police can do because it is the president who has invited the goons to accompany him in Nairobi. We have seen where police are tear-gassing the clergy, and they are tear-gassing Sunday school children in church, and no action is taken. You have found where goons are being ferried in police vehicles with crude weapons, where goons have become part of our security architecture. That is how sad it is. You know, it's unbelievable, you know. And you have found where the country has sunk low, so low that the Inspector General of Police and the police commanders have surrendered the police command to politicians. It is politicians who are giving directions to police. Attack so and so, beat so and so, and there's nothing that can be done. And the commanders are helpless. We have found, I have myself have been attacked in 12 incidents in the last 1 year. I have reported this to the IG, to the DCI. Nothing has been done because those gangs are under the command of politicians who are opposed to my politics. It's the National Police Service is no longer at the command of the Inspector General, it's no longer under the command of the county commanders. The National Police Service is at the command of politicians and criminal gangs. And sometimes we wonder, this Haiti mission, the police went to Haiti supposedly to help the people of Haiti deal with the criminal gangs, but it is looking that they went there actually for benchmarking on how to work with the goons. Because since these people went to Haiti, the relationship of the police and goons have actually become very close and very cordial, and they are actually working hard together. Yeah. You saw during the Sabasaba riots, property was destroyed in the mountain region and in Nairobi by goons under police supervision. So what we are saying is this, you look at the situation in the border. The president made a decision that is ill-advised from a security perspective. Of course, he is doing it politically. He thinks he can get foreigners from Somalia to come and register as voters and vote for him. So foreigners are being issued IDs. The 5 chiefs who were supposedly abducted, it was not an abduction. It was stage managed by government.
Why would you say that,
yeah,
Mr.
because they were in Somalia registering Somalians as Kenyans.
What evidence do you have?
No, we have it.
Sure.
You saw the other day a racket here in Isili where foreigners are being registered as Kenyans, and in fact I'm told the police who unearthed that racket are actually in trouble because they were not supposed to unearth it. It's embarrassing to the government because the government is part of that nonsense. And that thing that the president did is very bad for Kenyan Somalis, our Somalis from Kenya. As it is today, they are having challenges on visa application to go to various destinations in the world because the world is not sure, whether they are Kenyans or not. And it's very sad because the Kenyan Somalis are very hardworking people. They are very enterprising businessmen. These are people who should be able to travel all over the world, go to America, go to Britain, go to Canada, and do business. They are people who have contributed immensely to the growth of business in this country. It is very sad if they are profiled for extra surveillance and scrutiny arising from that decision by the president.
But it is the extra surveillance and scrutiny that was happening in the country, which is called vetting. And it is that process that many people from these border counties, I included, because I went through the vetting process.
That is why we
want for that.
We want the extra surveillance.
Many say that the vetting process is not fair to the people who are Kenyans and who need to go through a different exercise as any other Kenyan.
We would rather have extra surveillance at the border to make sure that only Kenyans are registered as Kenyans and foreigners are kept away, other than get our Kenyan Somalis profiled by the international community arising of a decision that cannot be properly justified. We must protect the Kenyan Somalis because they are Kenyans and they have every right to travel all over the world. And it is very sad, out of a decision that was made, that they are being viewed suspiciously. It is not right that our people are being profiled. But having said that, what I would want to do myself if elected president, the first thing I would do, day one, is recall our police officers from Haiti.
They're already home?
A few. Others are still there.
The process is ongoing.
Many have lost their lives. Many have come back with injuries. Even the one the president said he died, the body has never come home. We must make sure these policemen come here and serve the people of Kenya. How is it that people are being terrorized by criminals and cattle rustlers when our policemen are in Haiti? Why can't they come and first guard the people of Kenya? Number two, we also want to equip our police officers and give them modern equipment to fight modern crime. Train them on cyber crime, make sure that they are properly trained to deal with the modern crime as it's happening in the country. Again, these policemen are suffering a lot. This SHA nonsense has really affected them. They used to have a very good insurance cover. And if you talk to the police officers, they are really crying because they are being forced to go to SHA that is not working. Same with our teachers. You know, we want our policemen to have a very good medical scheme. We want to have a risk allowance for them because most of them suffer in the line of duty. We also want to make sure they are properly remunerated. These men and women in uniform, you know, sacrifice a lot for this country and to make sure that we are all safe. Again, they have no vehicles, you know. You heard the other day Murkomen saying that people should give them fuel. That is corruption. Wananchi pay taxes. Why should Wananchi pay taxes that is being stolen by bribing teachers in state houses and chiefs, and then you ask them to go and buy fuel? All police stations in Kenya and police posts should have a well-serviced vehicle with enough fuel to enable them serve the people.
So still talk about matters to do with security. You mentioned that you have seen goons working together with politicians and police. Evidence on that, Mr. Gachagua, because at the end of the day, if it's just another statement, it remains being a hearsay without evidence. And even as we talk about our security, there is the fact that there are Kenyans who are abducted in Tanzania. That is a matter to do with foreign affairs and how that was handled. One would ask the question, where does our heart lie when it comes to protecting our own within and without the country, as well as other citizens of other countries? Talk about the Turkish citizens who were abducted in Nairobi and taken back to their country, who are seeking asylum in the country. Where are we in all these situations?
We are doing very badly in matters violation of human rights. You know, there are very many cases of forced abductions, forced disappearances, and extrajudicial killings. No action has been taken. I want to promise the people of Kenya on day one, there is a squad of 101 officers that has been in charge of those abductions. It will be disbanded, and all officers who abducted our children and killed them will be held to account.
That squad was put there during the time when you're deputy president?
Yeah, and I complained about it. I complained very bitterly.
Who did you raise the question to? Did you go to IPOA or to IAU?
No, I raised it publicly in Mombasa for the people of Kenya. I raised it with the president himself in a security meeting. I raised it with him one-to-one, and when he did not heed to what I was asking him to do, I held a press conference and condemned extrajudicial killings and abductions. I still hold that position, that on forming government, abductions must come to an end, extrajudicial killings must come to an end, and all officers who have taken part in abductions and extrajudicial killings will be prosecuted. Because
you're part of the National Security Council, what was the reasoning behind the formation of that force?
Well, abductions and extrajudicial killings, and I opposed it myself. And when the president did not listen to me, I held a public press conference. It's on record on the 26th of June, 2024. It's on record.
But that, Mr. Gachagua, was way after you had served in government. Why didn't you speak on the very first day?
Those issues,
Mr. Gachagua, one would say, at the point when you were giving that statement, it's because you knew that impeachment was coming.
No. That was in June. Impeachment was in October. It had reached a stage, I had raised it privately. I had raised it in meetings, and it was still going on. So I made a decision to raise it publicly. And it's on record. And everybody knows I raised it publicly. What I'm saying is, we must make sure when we form government that extrajudicial killings must come to an end, abductions must come to an end, and all officers responsible will be held to account. And let me tell police commanders who are escorting goons around the country, we are keeping a very good diary. All those officers who are in charge of Narok, on the day we were there and we were brutalized, they will be held to account when we form government. No, the records are there. We'll be asking who was the OCS Narok on that day, who was the officer commanding police division that day, who was the OCS Tigoni police station when criminals attacked Rigathi Gachagua in Lemuru, who was the OCS then. They will be taken to account. And let me tell police officers, all those who are carrying out illegal instructions from politicians, you will answer for them. And criminal activities have no time limit. When we form government, and I have asked all leaders to keep a record of police excesses. Keep the name of the OCS, the name of the OSPD, the name of the sub-county commander, the guy in charge of CID, and keep proper record of the police excesses, the sins of commission and omission. When we form government, these officers will be held to account.
Are you speaking to a government that will finally allow the Inspector General to be independent and do the policing work?
You know, we have an Inspector General of Police who have surrendered his command to his juniors. This Douglas Kanja does not even know what goes on. The guy in charge is called Masengeri, the guy in charge of AP, and a guy called the Langat. These are the guys who are running the show and the DCI. The IG is a flower girl in Kenya. He doesn't know what goes on. He's from my village. He has no idea what goes on, you know? And it's so sad, you know? Ourselves, when we form government, we want to allow independent institutions to function. We want independent offices to function. You want an IG who can take command of the police. And I want to tell Douglas Kanja and those two DIGs to remember that in 2007, Major Ali was taken to the ICC for sins of commission and omission. And the way they are driving this country as we go towards the election, I see these officers having a date at The Hague. Kanja, Langat, Masengeri. I mean, I see you having a date at The Hague.
Will you file
because
a petition
the way things are going,
the ICC?
No, the way things are going, you allow goons to terrorize Kenyans under police formation. Kenyans say no, and they fight, and there is civil strife. ICC comes in, and you people in charge of the police command, you will have to account.
Would you be at the forefront in filing a petition
of course,
at the ICC?
Of course. I can tell you a lot of things are going on. A lot of documentation is going on. And I've told William Ruto he had a date with The Hague. I see him having a second date. And he knows he was not vindicated. It is only that witnesses were interfered with. He knows what Hague means. And the way things are going, I see him having a second date at The Hague because he has allowed criminals to take over the security sector and rain terror on the people of Kenya, you know? And these will constitute crimes against humanity eventually. And as we go towards 2027, the way I'm listening to Kenyans talk, Kenyans will defend themselves. And you see, when Kenyans defend themselves because the police are not available to defend them, there is anarchy. When there is anarchy, there is death, there is injury, and then the ICC will come in.
But Kenyans will defend themselves. What exactly do you mean?
What do you mean? If you go to terrorize people, goons under police supervision go to terrorize people, you expect people just to sit down? People will say no. Because Kenyans are people who have a right to self-determination. And why are police allowing that? Because under the Constitution, their work is to protect life and property. But the police are actually the ones harming the people of Kenya. They are the ones escorting goons to harm Kenyans. Yet they are the ones who are supposed to defend Kenyans from harm by goons. But they are the ones working with goons to harm the people of Kenya. And I'm telling you that situation is not acceptable. And Kenyans will say no, you know? And I am listening to many people. They are saying no, you know? People are saying no, we are not going to be attacked again. We'll also get ready. We'll defend ourselves. And that will bring anarchy. It's called the law, the state of nature. Why governments were formed is because people needed to be regulated. But we have a country where we are reverting to the state of nature, where police are working with criminals to terrorize people. When people are supposed, these policemen are paid by the taxpayers to defend the people of Kenya. They are the ones joining criminals to attack the people of Kenya. What do you expect the people of Kenya to do?
Mr. Gachagua, does it mean that today, with all the cases that you have reported that you were attacked, you are unable today to walk into a police station and file a report because you do not trust the police? And if that is the case, then what picture does that paint in the minds of Kenyans who have no other option?
Exactly, that's the point I'm saying. What do you expect Kenyans to do? What has happened myself now, I have people who defend me. The people who attacked us in Kariobangi Church, they were fought by my people, my supporters. They fought them and they drove them away. Then they came back with the police, with guns and live ammunition and tear gas, and overwhelmed our people because they have guns. But you see, what will happen is that there will be many cases like that. What has happened is they attacked me in Lemuru. They have never attacked me again without reaction. Because you see also I have supporters who will not allow people just to attack me. You know, wherever I go now, I have people also who defend me against the gangs. But do you want that in a country where people are defending each other and police are escorting one side to attack the other? It's a shame for Douglas Kaja and the National Police Service and Kipchumba Murkomen. He talks a lot of English, but it is during his tenure, you know, it's during his tenure, you know, that goons have taken over the National Police Service. He wears expensive shoes, expensive belt, expensive watch, but the country is being run by goons. How does he even get sleep? How do you get sleep as CS Interior to say you are the CS Interior of the Republic of Kenya when goons have taken over the National Police Service? He should be very ashamed of himself. Very ashamed. It has never happened, even during the Moi era. We have never seen goons take over the country from the policemen. We have never seen that.
What is
and I can tell you, even the president is part of it, because he issued instructions the other day. A week is over. Nobody has been prosecuted, which means he was not serious. He was just playing PR.
You see, Mr. Gachagua, one would hope that where the country finds itself, especially on matters of security, that security is given utmost importance and that Kenyans would respect as well the rule of law and that the police as well would be there to do policing work. But let us go to on something that is very keen and Kenyans are following on, and this is the country's debt. Yes. At the time when you formed government, you said yourself, you found a public coffers that was empty. The country was purely broke. And during the campaign period, we would not borrow. We would have to seal all the loopholes and continue. But we saw the borrowing that continued even then. Today we speak in terms of 12 trillion shillings that is choking Kenyans on a daily basis. And if you just pause, Mr. Gachagua, and look at what trillion shillings is vis-a-vis what we see on ground, many would say mambo kwa ground ni different. How would you handle, first of all, where do you place Kenya in terms of the debt situation, and what would be the solution if the united opposition from government?
You know, my brother, the national debt now is almost 12.5 trillion. And we have borrowed 4 trillion in the last 2 years. And we are borrowing about 3.5 billion daily. That's okay, we can borrow 3.5 billion daily. But what is annoying is that 3 billion is being stolen daily through procurement. You know, why are we borrowing to steal? William Ruto and his government are borrowing 3.5 billion daily, and then they steal 3 billion daily. You saw the other day a video, one of his MPs from Rigathi weighing money with a weighing scale. You know, because they have no time to count. The money is too much that counting billions will take a long time. So they weigh one note, they weigh one bundle, and they count it and they weigh. Then they use the weighing scale, you know, to be able. I saw another video that there is a central bank in Italy. You saw notes being packed. All this is money that is corruption through procurement. William Ruto has made corruption through procurement a way of life in this country. And he has started by having corruption in the State House, where he bribes people daily when people can see without even hiding, without even being ashamed. I used to see people bribing policemen, hiding a little bit. You know, they would hide, fold the note. Because bribery is not a good thing, they will hide a little because they are ashamed, because bribery is not a good thing. He called chiefs and assistant chiefs and bribed them with 10,000 each, and cheated them that he'll make them deals. And the chiefs were just laughing because it's a lie. They know it's not possible because we don't have those number of administrative divisions. So one of the chiefs called me from somewhere, I don't want to say where, they'll hunt him down. And he said, this man is such a liar. He's telling us to go and lie to the people of Kenya that he'll make Kenya Singapore. But what is sad is that he has lied to us, ourselves, before he can go and lie to the people that he'll make us deals. And we know very well that it is not possible, you know? We had him bribe teachers, bribe everybody. This is money that has been stolen because it's not his money. His salary cannot match what he's using to bribe people. You have seen the sale of national assets, you know? The Safaricom, you know? Safaricom was sold to Kenyans in 2007. 25% shares. There was IPO, the initial IPO. Kenyans oversubscribed. They bought everything. I tried to buy, they could only allow me to buy a little. Today, those shares are being sold to a foreign company, Vodacom, at 34 shillings. Kenyans have analyzed the growth of Safaricom, its potential, its outreach, and they are putting that value at almost 70 shillings.
Gachagua, how much is a share as you speak at the NEC of Safaricom?
I am not sure. I'm told it's 30-something or 40-something.
It is 28.
Whatever it is. But you see what you do with a business. You look at its potential. You look at the potential of that business. And you look at its projected growth so that you know what is the potential value. You know? Again, what we are saying, this is a company that is so central in Kenyans' lives. It's the one doing M-Pesa, almost everybody on Safaricom. Why do you want to give it to a foreigner? If this company must be sold, why don't we sell it to Kenyans? Open it to the people of Kenya, let them buy. Why do you want to give a foreign company 55% ownership, majority shareholders of a company that is so central in our lives?
I had that discussion with the CS Treasury today.
Why it is being sold?
The CS Treasury today, I had a discussion with him in the studio today.
Yes.
And the shares at the NEC today for Safaricom goes at 28 shillings. So 34 shillings is profit for the government.
But why can't you open it to Kenyans?
And the government went through a process for the past 6 months, going through and analyzing, doing research to understand how much that would be. And today, the money that is held at Safaricom, over 240 billion shillings that the government says this is money lying idle at the NEC. And we can take that money, inject it into development of the country that Kenyans move, because at the end of the day, the Singapore story that President William Ruto speaks about needs this country to march in terms of development. Based off that explanation, why would you oppose the government taking its assets, selling it?
Our constitution makes public participation a must. When you are dealing with anything that belongs to the public. Have they asked the people of Kenya? No. They are trying to ask now. I saw an advertisement because we have complained. Have they asked the people of Kenya? If you look at this company, since inception, they have paid taxes 1.48 trillion. Since inception, they have paid 550 billion in terms of dividends. When you look at the amount of money they pay every year, yeah? What is the wisdom of selling this company? Because it's like saying, because we have no food here in this house, I sell my household items here, and then I buy food. Then after I finish the food, what happens? When you look at the dividends that they pay to the government, when you look at that amount, where will it be coming from?
The dividend that we talk about is around 16 billion annually every year. But even then, when we talk about public participation, there is a process under law, especially because when you talk about matters transaction, there is a process that guides the same. As we speak right now, Kenyans have been asked to go.
A decision has already been made to sell the company.
Kenyans have been given an opportunity to lend their voices on the sale of these shares that we are talking about. The government of Kenya has not decided it is selling. If Kenyans say no, it will not be sold.
My brother,
how do you oppose it?
My brother.
Instead,
my
shouldn't
brother,
you be asking Kenyans
let me explain
to participate in this public
participation,
Mr. Gachagua?
You don't say you are selling this and even the amount before the people of Kenya can tell you to sell. You first say we want to sell. Then when you are given the go-ahead by the people of Kenya to sell, then you start the process. But they have already completed the process, agreed they are selling to who, at how much, then they are coming to the people of Kenya. And then they are coming through Parliament. Parliament is an appendage of William Ruto. You can tell how it will go. There is no public participation. It's an exercise in futility. It's a fait accompli. It is simply formalizing what has already been decided. But the question we are saying, why don't you ask the people of Kenya whether you need to sell Safaricom?
It's what they're asking
when they tell you yes, why don't you give them an opportunity to buy? Why do you want to sell it to a foreign company? Why don't you let the people of Kenya own this company that is so important to their lives? Why do you want it to be owned by a foreigner? But you have already decided whom to sell. How are those negotiations done? Because they are commissions. Because they are people who have an interest. They are people who have bargained money there. What we are saying, if Safaricom must be sold, let the people of Kenya, with their financial challenges they are having, be allowed to buy. I buy for 20,000, another one for 20,000. Then the company remains here. The government will remain with the shares, 35%. The people of Kenya, will own the 15, plus the other 25 we bought the other time. Then the company, 60% is owned by government and the people of Kenya. Why do you want to give 55% majority shareholder to a foreigner? A company that is so instrumental in Kenyan lives. Why?
But you know that Vodacom is part and parcel of Safaricom as we speak today, right?
Yeah, no. Those are foreigners. And if Kenyans have not said they are not able to buy Safaricom, we were given an opportunity in 2007. We bought. We oversubscribed. In fact, they were allocating. You could not buy what you wanted. They had to allocate. Why can't we give this opportunity to the people of Kenya? If we must sell Safaricom, which I disagree, we need not sell it. The amount of money we are raising from Safaricom is good for our country. And by selling it, we are going to lose revenue. And what will happen, that revenue we used to get from Safaricom, we'll have to overtax Kenyans. Because we must get that money we used to get from Safaricom. It's like selling a cow that you are milking, so much milk and selling and drinking, and then taking it to the butchery, and then get one off, so that you build a toilet in your home. Then what happens? How will you get milk? How will your children get milk? It is an ill thought out proposal. It is unnecessary, and it is informed by conflict of interest.
As the process continues, because that is the process that is there, that is recognized under the law, what is your message to Kenyans who are being urged today to go to these venues to give their views on the sale of Safaricom?
Those public participation forums will be micromanaged by Parliament. Kenyans must agitate and Kenyans must go to court. This is the only language William Ruto can understand. We must go to court. That if Safaricom must be sold, Kenyans must be given the first opportunity. Because they have not been given and they have said they are not able to buy. And they have a proven track record that they are able to buy the shares in Safaricom. In 2007, Kenyans were given the opportunity to buy, they oversubscribed. And they could not buy as much as they wanted. So if Kenyans agree that Safaricom need to be sold, we are demanding that the people of Kenya be given the first opportunity to buy Safaricom so that it remains Kenyan, so that government can own some shares and other shares are owned by the people of Kenya.
Let's remain on the question of debt. The country is said to have borrowed all these 12.5 trillion, but that is not seen. If you look at the laws, PFM Act on how borrowing is done, you only borrow for development. And today, you look at how much we've borrowed vis-a-vis what we see, and we cannot see what 12.5 trillion shillings has done. Therefore, Mr. Gachagua, the odious debt that does exist in the country, first of all, do you believe that there is odious debt? And if that is the case, then should Kenya pay this odious debt?
Unfortunately, the people of Kenya will have to pay that debt because they have been committed by government. And what is sad is that they shall pay for money that is being stolen. The money that is being borrowed is used to bribe them. It is being used to bribe voters. It's being used to bribe chiefs and teachers. It's being used to host people at State House. It's so sad, but the people of Kenya will have to pay. So what we need to do is to make sure we vote out this government so that we stop that borrowing for money for using to steal and using it to bribe people. And that we must do, and that is why most of us we are saying the problem of Kenya cannot be tribalism. The way Ruto wants to say, the problem is that he is stealing. He's borrowing money from other bodies, that money that people of Kenya will pay, and then stealing the same amount of money and bribing them with the money. And then when he gets on top of his vehicle, he says there's no problem in Kenya. The problem of Kenya is tribalism.
What is the position on President William Ruto's State of the Nation address? He says that at the macro level, the government is doing very well. International lending institutions are doing very well. But down at the ground, because you say you listen to people,
that is just a talk.
What is the actual position of Kenyans with regard to the economy and how they are feeling in their pocket? And if you form government,
my brother,
how would you fix that?
My brother, if you want to know economic growth, forget about those figures of inflation, of economic growth, I don't know, macroeconomics, Talk to the people of Kenya and ask them how the economy is doing. They'll give you an answer. During the reign of Mwai Kibaki, Kenyans felt economic growth. You didn't need to give a State of National address. You didn't need to give an economic survey to tell the people of Kenya that the economy is growing and there is economic growth. The people of Kenya felt economic growth. There was money in circulation. You know, the bypasses were opened up. Houses came up. There was money in circulation everywhere. Everybody was happy. Today, despite borrowing that amount of 3.5 million every day, Kenyans are paying bills of 800 billion. If you read the Nation newspaper daily, there are 6-7 pages of auctions. People are being auctioned, their properties, their land, their houses, their matrimonial houses are being auctioned. Simply because government owes them for the last 3 years, 5 years, they have refused to pay them. Marriages have been broken. People are committing suicide because of being auctioned, because of getting destroyed economically, because of non-payment of bills. So when Ruto goes to Parliament to say the economy is growing, what do those people whose property is being auctioned because they are owed money by government, how do they feel? And what is sad, all those houses and land that is being auctioned, it's not being bought. There's nobody to buy. I went the other day to Ayad in Narok. I found more than 50 vehicles. They have been there for 1 year. They were repossessed for sale, but there is nobody to buy, nobody has money. So when you say that the economy is growing, that there is improvement, that the economy has stabilized, who are you telling? As we go for Christmas, Kenyans are a very sad lot. Many Kenyans will not even enjoy Christmas. Many of them are sulking. They are worried about January. Where will they get money to take their children to school? Where will they get money to pay for licenses for businesses that are not performing? You have to renew your license in January, but nobody comes to your shop to buy. Yet you have to renew your licenses. Kenyans are a very unhappy lot as we proceed for this Christmas. Kenyans are very sad by the state of the economy. And that is why most people are switching the TV off when William Ruto was lying to the people of Kenya in Parliament that Kenya is doing very well economically. He has stabilized the economy. Oh, we are on a very good trajectory. Whom is he telling? Talk to the ordinary Kenyan people. You know, today, tea farmers, they are going home with a bonus as less as 12 shillings. That's something that has not happened in the history of this country. Simply because William Ruto mismanaged foreign policy on the relationship with Sudan. He went to interfere with the internal affairs of Sudan. He went to work with the rebel groups, sending them arms, buying gold from them. Then the government of Sudan got annoyed and stopped importing our tea. We have been selling 15% of our tea, of our green tea to Sudan. As a result, most of our tea is in Mombasa unbought. And the prices have gone down because we used to get very good prices from Sudan. As we speak today, farmers from his place in Kericho are saying 1 tam. Farmers in Nandi are saying 1 tam. Tea farmers from his place where he comes from, his own tribesmen are saying 1 tam. Because for a long time, for the last 30 years, they have never received bonus as low as they have received. You know, as we go for Christmas, many people are doing harambes to pay hospital bills. SHA is not working. They have been deducted money, but SHA cannot pay. Many people over this Christmas have harambes to raise money for hospital bills. You know, many people, they have supplied food to hospitals. They have not been paid. Many people have supplied food items to prisons. They have not been paid. Everybody is stuck as we go for Christmas. Yet the president has the audacity to appear in parliament, drinking water, and MPs are shouting there 2 term, and he's saying how Kenya is doing well, how happy people are, you know. And he was saying, oh, he has, you know, he was in America, he has been invited there. You know, I saw Trump. I think he's a very interesting character. William RUTO was telling Trump that there are problems in Sudan, and there is a humanitarian crisis, and Trump should intervene. And Trump just looked at him because he has intelligence that William RUTO is responsible for the crisis in Sudan, and he is here pretending to invite Trump to intervene in Sudan. And Trump just looked at him. He did not respond to him, you know. So, you know, I have had. I would like you give me an opportunity to talk about Singapore. I prepared something because I would like to debunk.
Let's actually go there, because you see, Mr. Gachagua, one of the issues that also has bedeviled this country is corruption, right?
Yes.
And corruption is not money that has disappeared. It is money that is stolen.
Yes.
It is money that has been taken. And money, as they say, has trail, has paper trail. It can be traced to where it has gone to. The government of Kenya today says, we want to get to a developed country. We want to get to Singapore. But if you look at what Lee Kuan Yew did in Singapore, the first thing he did was to criminalize corruption. If you were found to be corrupt, you would be shot dead. Today, Kenya finds itself at a position where corruption is coffee, tea, sleep, wake up corruption. If you form government, what is your promise in dealing with corruption so that the Singaporean dream becomes a reality?
Let me talk about Singapore. William RUTO is very good at narratives. Last election, he came with the bottom-up economic model. It has collapsed. He said he'll lift people from bottom to up. Those who own motorbikes will own centers and taxis. Those who own taxis will own matatus. Those who own matatus will own buses.
You believed him? You
trusted
him?
We
you
supported
him?
We believed him. It was the greatest fraud in the history of Kenya. Electoral fraud. He conned all of us and the people of Kenya. Mama Mboga, border. He doesn't talk about them anymore because he knows it's trash. He said hustler fund, 500 shillings. What business can you do with 500 shillings? So he knows that nobody will listen to that hustler nonsense. Nobody will listen up to bottom-up economic model. So he has now come up with a new con game of Kenya should be like Singapore. Singapore, the country pursued a radically pro-business, export-oriented strategy. Singapore slashed corporate taxes, guaranteed rule of law, and built investor confidence. So what is William RUTO doing? He's saying we want to be like Singapore. This is what Singapore did. Yeah? Himself, we are struggling businesses. Our importers in Mombasa are strained. The tax regime is oppressive. It kills business. Investors are fleeing Kenya due to corruption and insecurity. In Singapore, they rose to what they became because of rule of law. In RUTO's Kenya, the one he wants to be Singapore, goons are in charge of the country. And he's saying that Kenya can be like Singapore. Singapore became what it is because of rule of law. Here is William RUTO, president of Kenya, saying Kenya will be like Singapore, first world. Singapore became what it is because of rule of law. In RUTO's Kenya, goons are in charge of the police. Who is going to invest in this country? When goons took over Nairobi and other centers, destroyed supermarkets, destroyed factories under police supervision, who in his right mind is going to come and invest in Kenya? Number two, in Singapore, education was made the primary engine of national development. In Kenya, in 3 years, RUTO has destroyed education. The free primary education brought by Mwai Kibaki, destroyed. Secondary school, free primary, secondary education brought by who? Destroyed. HELB, a system to fund university education, destroyed. And then he is saying, you know, that Kenya can be like Singapore. Singapore became what it is because education became the primary engine of national development. Here is a man lying to the people of Kenya so that they can be re-elected, that Kenya can be like Singapore. Yet the first thing he has done is the opposite of what Singapore did. Singapore made sure that education is the primary engine of development. William Ruto, who is cheating the people of Kenya, that Kenya can be like Singapore, the first thing he has done in 3 years of his presidency is to destroy the education system irreversibly. And then he's telling people that Kenya can be like Singapore. In Singapore, they had bilingual policy. English for economic competitiveness, mother tongue for identity. Okay? So here in Kenya, William Ruto says when you speak your mother tongue, you are tribal.
Mr. Gachagua, we've heard you.
When we are saying we need identity, he says if you speak your mother tongue, you are tribal.
We've heard what Singapore did. We've had the problems that Kenya faces before it gets to
corruption.
Singapore.
Corruption in Singapore, for Singapore to be what it is, corruption was aggressively implemented. And Singapore ranks the top 5 least corrupt countries for decades. Kenya, corruption is rewarded. State House is a crime scene. Bribery is a way of life. Theft of public resources is the in thing, where ministers display opulence.
That
you know, today I saw some people from central Kenya, parastatal heads, the wider 7-star hotel, taking pictures, having breakfast, display of opulence from proceeds of corruption. Kenya, corruption is part of our life.
Mr. Gachagua.
And then Ruto is telling
Singapore.
us, he is telling us, whereas Singapore is where it is because it dealt with corruption. Ruto is the conveyor belt of corruption in Kenya.
Mr.
Look
Gachagua.
at what is happening in Ikolomani, my brother. 338 acres. 800 people are being displaced. It is said that there is gold there for 643 billion. We have information. The gold under is almost 6 trillion. This gold, why are the locals not involved?
Did you send
why is it not being...
Have you sent geologists to give you that information?
Let me tell you what is happening in this country.
Mr. Gachagua.
Let me tell you what is happening. Let me also tell you what is happening in this country. Let me tell you what is happening in this country. Very many people are very bitter with the corruption that is being practiced. So we have a lot of information from people inside. The gold deposits in Kakamega are in excess of 6 trillion. Okay? Yet, this gold, without public participation, without consulting the people of Ikolomani and the people of Kakamega, have been given to a company where Ruto and company have shares. It's outright corruption. The gold deposits in Kakamega are enough, to make Kakamega a county that you salivate when you go there. And these gold deposits belong to the people of Kakamega, they don't belong to government. But because there is corruption, Musalia, Wetangula, and Shinali, the MP, have been compromised by Ruto. And I'm telling the people of Kakamega, they must say no, they must not allow their 6 trillion gold deposits to be stolen by William Ruto and company.
You've mentioned what Singapore has done to get to where it is.
Yes, corruption, they dealt with corruption.
You've mentioned problems
so
that
So I'm asking you, my brother, you are telling me.
The question is, Mr. Gachagua, let's talk solutions.
Yes.
You form government. How will you achieve the Singaporean dream if you form government from the United Opposition perspective?
We don't want to tell people like we shall be like Singapore. We don't want narratives and theories like William Ruto does to cheat people. We are honest people. What we know, we don't know whether we'll become like Singapore or like Egypt or like America or like whoever. It doesn't matter. What we know is that we must deal with corruption. Corruption. And corruption is Kenya's problem. William Ruto is confusing everybody that the problem of Kenya is tribalism, so that people stop looking at the real problem of this country. You know, we must deal with corruption decisively. And we must make sure that independent institutions to fight corruption are allowed to do so. we must also make sure that people get what they earn rightfully. We must make sure that we don't sell public assets. Like now, pipeline was being sold at 100 billion.
Before you go to pipeline, I just want to remain at Ikolomani. We'll go to pipeline.
Yes.
Still on Ikolomani.
Yes.
If you were the president of Kenya today, with the knowledge and the information that you have, that gold deposit is worth 6 trillion shillings, how differently would you have approached it?
We would have a very candid discussion with the people of Ikolomani and Kakamega. And that gold is not just within the 338 acres. That is just the entry point. Gold is underneath the whole of Kakamega. And these guys are not just going to dig that gold within 338 acres. They'll go beneath in all areas in Kakamega. We would have a very serious discussion with the people of Kakamega to tell the people of Kakamega, God in his own wisdom has given you wealth. How do we get this wealth in partnership between the government and yourselves to transform your lives? How do we agree from the sale of this gold? How do we share the proceeds to go to development, to build roads, to have water for irrigation, to build boarding schools for children, to build ultra-modern secondary schools, to build universities, to boost people to do business? It is absurd that a few people, with the connivance of William Ruto, Musalia Mudavadi, Wetangula, and Shinari, want to steal 6 trillion from the people of Kakamega, and then they remain in abject poverty. And I'm telling the people of Kakamega, they must put their foot down. They should not, even if they are to be killed or jailed. The people of Kakamega cannot allow these gold deposits to go to a few people when they should benefit the people of Kakamega. And I'm asking them to stop it until we form government. Then when we form government, we can have a discussion. How do we exploit this mineral? And you know, my brother, minerals. The conflict in DRC is about minerals. The conflict in Sudan is about minerals. And the people of Kakamega must be prepared to say no. They must protect these gold deposits. There is no way 6 trillion worth of gold deposit that can transform a whole county should go to 4 people.
I want you to
it's unfortunate.
I want you to address yourself to the pipeline matter that you were talking about, the sale of the same. I want you as well to talk about securitization that the government has put in place to be able to get funds to push development of the country. What is your view on those two, as well as the road that is being constructed, the Mau Summit Road?
Pipeline,
where do you stand with that?
This issue of pipeline was brought when I was Deputy President. I was a chairman of the cabinet committee that will discuss matters before they go to cabinet. And I refused. I rejected it. It was only passed after I was removed from office. This pipeline is worth 600 billion. William Ruto wants to buy it at 100 billion. And he's the one buying it. And he told me, we have interest in this matter.
When did he tell you?
When I was in his deputy.
At what time?
When I rejected it in cabinet committee, and his minister went and told him that I have refused. He called me and said, no, just please, let's process this thing. And I said, no. This thing, pipeline, is a national asset and is a strategic investment. How do you give the storage of our petroleum products in the hands of private people? These are strategic parastatals that have security implications for the security of the country. Again, how do you sell an institution worth 600 billion at 100 billion? And they are targeting some land in Mombasa. That land in Mombasa owned by pipeline. That land, is worth 400 billion. So you buy pipeline, but the land you are targeting is worth 400 billion. But I'm glad that some people went to court and this matter was put on hold. And I really want to pay great tribute to our judiciary. I have followed for the last 6 months, and I'm very happy that we have judicious men and women who love their country, who are patriotic, and who will not allow William Ruto to sell everything that we own in this country. Because what is happening, and I can tell you, all our national assets are being sold. These bombers of Kenya here, something, our heritage for our culture has been sold for 100 years, 99 years at least. And foreigners come and they're in partnership with Ruto and other people close to him. You know, I've heard him today saying that he's not interested in any more wealth. I hope he means it. I hope he means it.
Finally, Mr. Gachagua,
I hope he means it.
I want you to address yourself to the Limuru Mau Summit Road. Where do you stand with that?
Yeah?
The development of the Limuru Mau Summit Road.
It is unacceptable because that program was done by the Uhuru government at 150 billion to the French. And when William Ruto came, he tried to talk to the French to see whether he can get something out of it, and they refused because they had already finalized the contract. So he cancelled the contract, and we had to pay 6.5 billion as penalty. We lost 6.5 billion so that he can cancel the contract. This contract now has been upgraded to 200 billion. And they are trying to give it to two contractors, which is against the law. Because the two contractors are not, the one contractor is not able to handle the volume. It's too much. It's against the law. Even when he launched it last Friday, he did it when there is no contract. It's a fraud, it's a con. How do you go to launch a program which you have not signed a contract? But the 50 billion is what Ruto and his people have negotiated with the Chinese. And this Chinese company, and we are telling the Chinese government, this CBRC, it is involved in a lot of corruption here in this country. And the way they are paying commission to the president is building up hotels and go downs for him in Mombasa Road and a hotel in Taveta. It is a very corrupt company, CBRC. And the Chinese people should know that that company is a purveyor and a conveyor of corruption in this country.
Do you have evidence to that effect, Mr. Gachagua?
How do you explain that the contract was... No, I'm asking. Do you need rocket science or to have gone to a school for corruption studies?
One would say, everything that you say, Mr. Gachagua, has to be backed by evidence. Because all you say is just allegation.
Why would you cancel a contract for 150 billion and do it for 200 billion? Same road, same country, different times. Why would anybody want to do that? Why would you be prepared to lose 6.5 billion to cancel a contract that you have no reason to do it? It is because of conflict of interest. And my brother, we also live in this country. And we know what is going on, and many people are talking to us, and we are saying it is insulting to the people of Kenya for Ruto to say that Kenya can be like Singapore. When Singapore, it is what it is because it fought corruption. When he is doing corruption every day, in every deal. Kenya now is a country of deals. And the corruption in Kenya is through procurement. Yeah.
Mr. Gachagua, thank you very much for hosting us in your home. A lot that needs to be discussed. Time is never enough to canvas everything that we have to discuss in 2 hours and some change. But that notwithstanding, Mr. Gachagua, we are heading to Christmas. Look straight into that camera. Speak to Kenyans, your final remarks and Christmas message to them.
I want to empathize with the people of Kenya as we proceed for Christmas. I appreciate the troubles they are going through, the pain, the anguish, the uncertainty, the economic and financial challenges that our people are undergoing. I empathize with the parents whose children were abducted and tortured, and some have never been recovered today. I empathize with them. I really feel for the people of Kenya because of the lies that their president gives them every day when they can see the country is being looted left, right, and center, and there's nothing they can do.
Yes.
But I want to give hope to the people of Kenya as they go for Christmas, that Kenyans are very resilient people and they are very determined. I want to ask the people of Kenya to be patient and to have faith in a united opposition. I want to assure them that despite what they are hearing, the united opposition is one, and we shall produce one candidate to face William Ruto, to give the people of Kenya an opportunity to get a good government, a government that is transparent, a government that means well for them, a government that will create prosperity, a government that will observe the rule of law, a government that will respect institutions.
Yes.
So as they proceed for Christmas, I want to ask them to take care of themselves, to have safe travels, to avoid a lot of night travel, not to agree to be loaded in matatos like cabbages and potatoes, to demand that The matatus and the buses observe traffic regulations, and I want to ask them to spend less for Christmas, much as it's a festive season, to know that January is coming. January is a very, very difficult month, and even as they try to celebrate with the little that they have, they should take due care to make sure that they try to save a little to be able to help them in January, which is a very, very difficult month. Otherwise, for all Kenyans, I'll also be taking a Christmas and New Year break, and they will not be hearing of me from today. I'll also be joining my family in a village and the villagers for Christmas, and later on for the New Year festivities, and take a little break, and also try also to do a few things in January like all other Kenyans, pay licenses, pay this and that, pay school fees for my children in South Africa and elsewhere. And I'll be struggling just the way they are struggling. But I want to assure them that things will get better, and much as things are difficult, there is light at the end of the tunnel.
It will always get better. Geoffrey, regarding Gachagua, DCP party leader, key principal in the united opposition, and says despite the fact that things are difficult, Kenyans should not lose hope. The only thing that will keep you moving is to remain hopeful, and that there is light at the end of the tunnel. My name is Dennis Aseto. We have been coming to you live from the residence of Rigathi Gachagua. A lot has been discussed. I take you back to the studio with Ndu Oko.